As you can see here, I have the V-band exhaust flange mounted, and as you can look inside of there, you can see it kind of contours with the exhaust. That's really good workmanship there. And then you can see the Rampage logo, and you can see the titanium studs sticking out of there. And I got the oil feed. You can see that's pretty. Got the oil feed line there to feed the oil to the turbo. And the next thing is pretty much getting the turbo mounted so I can run. You can see the down there, that's the oil return. I'll be mounting that, getting all the hoses and everything all situated. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the, you see this is for the Wastegate. I will be no longer using this because of course I'm going external thanks to Motec. So I'll be tucking those wires and hiding them. I had to take the bracket off, separate it. The bracket is over here. As you can see, it's like a freaking, it's pretty much, it spidered way all through there, but it's no longer needed now. So I'm slowly getting it. You can see the inlet of that GT3076 with a GTX, and this is a Gen2. It's the specs are on it right here. It's the, I think you can see it right here. It's 83 on the exhaust side, 83. So there will be some lag, but I've received some info that it's minimal. It's not, you know, a showstopper or anything, but with all big turbos, you're gonna get lag. You sacrifice the bottom end for mid and top. So you know that the small stock turbo, it pretty much max boosts at 3,000 psi. I mean 3,000 RPM, excuse me, and that's with the rod killer. So pretty much putting a bigger turbo on this setup will move that torque curve, that aggressive torque curve later in RPMs, and save you from littering the ground with rods. So I mean, as technology catch up with this setup, I'm sure there will be a lot more stuff. So this is kind of like really a beta setup right now, because Bob Lee, you know, he's busy with other things, so he hadn't had time to really push his to the limit to see what his kit's doing. But I mean, it looks promising. I mean, pretty much I'll provide Rampage with some numbers, so in the future, if somebody want to build a kit like this, you know, they'll have all the info and everything. So I pretty much had the valve cover off. I want to do one-time valve adjustment before I install this kit, because I don't want to even touch this engine, I mean, for a while, because I got a lot of time in this thing, building it, you know, porting the heads, you know, pretty much didn't have much literature to build this setup. But I was tapping, you know, I have tapping a few friends that work at Honda, and also my brother, he started working there as well, and got a few specs, but there's no books, no Haynes manuals. So if you don't have a connection at Honda, you pretty much don't even bother, because some of those specs, especially the oil clearances and rod clearances, the oil clearance on the rods and crank bearings, you don't want to play with that, because it could be a thousandths of an inch, could be, you know, could make a big difference. So I'll give you guys more feedback as I proceed. All right, I have the turbo mounted on the flange, just loosely mounted because I think I have to adjust it, because since it's a hard line for the wastegate, for the recirculating tube, I'll leave it a little loose for right now and get everything set up. I have the oil feed line. You can see it running to the turbo here. It's all provided by Rampage, come with the kit, and it's running there to the feed off the block. Now I have to run the oil return line that goes back to the oil pan. You can see this. I just have this on here, just no clamp or nothing. It just pulls off. But yeah, Rampage, you can see they provided the shielding to protect this because of because it's running next to the exhaust. But yeah, it's definitely looking better. It's a tight squeeze. As you can see, it's what, maybe from here, this upper radiator mount, you can see like it's a finger's width on the hot side and probably a finger and a half on the compressor side. So I don't think we really on the Civic Type R, we were basically limited on turbo. I can't want to run one of those giant beastly turbos to probably make, you know, make a lot more power. Well, it possibly could, but it's going, as you can see, it's going to require some fabrication to that radiator, this radiator support here. Yeah. So, and probably gonna have to go to Flexolite fans as well, because these fans protrude a little bit more. So all right, as you can see here, I installed the silicone hose, this coolant line from the upper radiator hose from the housing that goes over to this expansion tank. I connected the coolant feed line to the turbo. I left this one off because I have to bring the downpipe up through there, and I don't want to force it through a small space, so I'll wait to do that. Let's see, all the other lines are connected, oil feed, and soon I'll be get ready to put the downpipe on. And actually I got to put the charge piping to the cooler. Got to put that on, and then as you can see here, this is for the crankcase breather, or goes to the catch can. It's got the 180. So I'm gonna fab a mount for the catch can to mount in this area here. So I don't want any oil vapor going back into this nice turbo here and going back in the engine. Yeah, that would suck. As you can see there, that's my AEM water meth nozzle in there. I probably got to change that. I think I have a 500cc injector in there now, the little nozzle. So I'm gonna change it to 1,000, since this one will be making, actually for this kit it required I think 1,500, so I have to run double nozzles actually. Get a Y and run 2 nozzles in there. Put another one in line here. As you can see, it's like this is made for the nozzles. It has it has a raised area here with more material, so you could drill through and tap it. And actually this kit is actually made for the PRL. This one I got specifically made for the PRL intake, the stage 2. I sent Rampage my intake box, but the cold air intake, the whole thing. so they could fab the kit so everything, all the piping contours well and goes into it without, you know, trying to force anything. So I want it to look real neat. So I'm going to begin work because I'm pretty much the only one here, so I gotta do everything by my lonesome. I don't have a stand or anything, so it'll be kind of hard to work with this, work around the camera and get the angles and whatnot. So I'll just keep pausing and continuing. As you can see here, I installed the Turbo Smart blow-off valve onto the charge pipe. I'm going to be installing this. It's got to go below, of course, at the base of that turbo there at the opening. So I'll have to get up under it and put this connector on, some clamps, and let's see what happens here. All right, I have the charge pipe on. Have all the fittings and whatnot connected. Now I'm going to try and put the downpipe on. It's going to be a beast because this V-band is really close. So you can see the PRL front pipe repping down there. It's pretty clean install. It's pretty, as you look down here, I put some light down here. You can see that Rampage contoured that charge pipe perfectly. You can see the Turbo Smart blow-off valve. Sits kind of, I can't really see how I get a light down in here. Yeah, it's still gotta connect all my, I'm gonna do 1/4 inch, the quick connects as vacuum line for the boost controller, blow-off valve and everything. It's just for clean install. It looks nice and it holds up over time. So I will be showing a bit more shortly. I have the downpipe installed, and the wastegate is just basically sitting on the flange. It doesn't have the V-band clamps on. I'm just basically making sure it's in the right placement before I tighten this V-band clamp and lock the turbo in position. So right now the turbo is in the perfect position to install the wastegate. So I will proceed with that. And pretty much push forward. Hopefully I can start this thing up today and see how it sounds.